because there's no difference between the neuro patient and the ortho patient. Okay, just so we're clear, it's just a matter of constraints.
Good morning. Happy Friday. I have Neuro coffee in hand and it is perfect. All right. We got a big weekend coming up. iFast is moving this weekend. So today's pack up day, tomorrow's moving day. So we'll be in the new place by next week. It should be pretty exciting weekend with that in mind. Also, a big announcement, Intensive 15. The Intensive 15 will be November 18th through the 21st. I will be releasing that to the mentorship list, most likely today at some point in time, so they can start submitting their applications for that. Only 8 people are going to be selected to come, so get your application in as quickly as possible once that is released. Like I said, probably later today. So November 18th through the 21st for the Intensive 15. Okay, digging into today's Q&A. This is from Christian from yesterday's Coffee and Coaches conference call. Might be one of the coolest videos that we've done in quite some time. Reason being, so Christian works in a neuro rehab setting, which right away you start thinking like, oh, that's different from everything else that we talk about. The reality is it's not different at all. And that's why this video is so important. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk our way through a couple of situations that will allow you to see that movement occurs in the same way. So the rules don't change. It's always compression expansion. It's always ERs and IRs. We use some of the same activities. We just use it from a little bit of a different perspective because of the difference in the constraints. So if you've ever questioned how we're going to apply this model in different contexts, this is going to be the video for you. So even if you don't do neuro rehab, you're going to take something away from this. If you do work in neuro rehab, it might be something that maybe you think that something is different and it's not really that different. So again, I think it will be useful for you all. If you would like to participate in a 15-minute consultation, please go to askbillhartman@gmail.com, askbillhartman@gmail.com. Put 15-minute consultation in the subject line, and we will arrange that at our mutual convenience. Everybody have an outstanding Friday. Enjoy your weekend. If you want to help us move, hey, there's a thought. Come by iFast and we'll give you something to do. If you don't, no big deal. We will see you next week.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
What's up?
So one of the things that I've been kind of wrestling with lately at work is I'm on the neuro team, so majority of my caseload is neuro. So awesome. I've been trying to find a way to make the model more cohesive within my treating.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I noticed, a lot of my caseload will be seated most of the time throughout the day, and they have a lot of what appears to be eccentric orientation along, say from T7 down to the sacrum. It's very rounded. So if I look at their measures, they appear to have a lot of ER.
Yes, sir.
And very, very little IR.
Correct.
Is what it appears to be. So
yes.
I'm thinking of incorporating back strengthening, like things that they could do at home, like prone positioning, to try to improve their upright posture when they're standing, because they seem to be very rounded. And so that's one of the things that I've been wrestling with, and then finding ways to progress them against gravity, since they don't have that much time standing up against gravity.
Yep. Do you do mat work with them?
I do. Yeah, I've done.
Awesome. Okay.
I've done rolling with them. I try to have them do it at home, especially if they have a caregiver getting them up from the ground.
Is this like just a combination of stuff from strokes to TBI to like
exactly?
Everything?
Yep. Stroke, TBI, Parkinson's.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So you got a lot of ER, no IR, right?
Yes, sir.
If you're working on rolling,
that's what I was.
Hang on. Let's talk this through, okay? Because it'll help everybody too. Because there's no difference between the neuro patient and the ortho patient. Okay, just so we're clear, it's just a matter of constraints and such, right? The rules are the same. All movement occurs in the same way. All right. So I got crazy ER, no IR. That tells me that I got spine that's creating that ER representation. You understand that, right? And that's what's presenting. So I need a spine that can go from an ER representation to the IR representation. Okay. If I'm teaching rolling to somebody and I'm trying to capture more internal rotation capabilities, what direction, so from what position and then in what direction do you want to teach them to roll? Just as a general representation, let's just say that somebody's fully intact, but I'm trying to create internal rotation. Where do you want to take them? From what to what?
I guess what would be optimal would either be rolling together as a unit or rolling from prone to supine.
There it is. That's your answer right there. 1000%. Okay. So this is the difference between rolling from prone or supine to prone and prone to supine. Okay. Prone to supine requires that I drive the spine towards internal rotation. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's take your neurologically insulted individual. Okay. We've got a change in constraints, but the rule doesn't change. So I start you in a position where I know you can be successful. So maybe I put you directly in sideline, and then I'm teaching you to roll towards the mat from in the posterior direction. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can drive upper extremity that way. You can drive lower extremity that way. And so you're starting to teach them how to reorient the spine in a low gravity situation first, capture the position, then teach them how to produce force. So same rules that we were just talking with Zach with an ACL. It's like, okay, do they even have the position where they can produce force first? So when you talk about strengthening things, it's like, yeah, force production is important, but can they even acquire the position? Do I want to try to teach them to produce force in an ER representation? Probably not going to work too well, right? Exactly. Okay. And so, so you start there. You can apply manual resistance into that rotation, right? So this is PNF. So PNF will be a wonderful way for you to drive that stuff because it's based on helical orientations, right? So you apply the resistance in the helical orientation. So you can lead them with resistance, or you can have them push into resistance, right? And so then you start to develop the force production within a narrow range, and then you just expand that range to the best of whatever capabilities they have available based on the remaining constraints. You drive head, you drive thorax, you drive pelvis, right? One of the biggest mistakes that is always made in neuro rehab is standing people up and walking them too soon. Okay? Because they were walking 2 days ago before the stroke. Surely that's the goal, is to get them back up and walking. Okay? Christian, I'm going to assume you're a reasonably normal human being. When you were born, how long did it take you to figure out how to walk?
A year. Well,
yeah.
Start to learn, yeah.
Because you had a big giant head, right? Mm-hmm. That was 1/3 of your body mass, and you had this tiny little body, and you were stuck to the ground because you couldn't change shape. And then you started kicking around and you started experimenting, and you go, hey, this big giant head, I can use this to my advantage. If I can get it swinging in the right direction, I can actually roll. And then you started to turn, and then you started to coordinate things. It's the same process for them. They have new constraints. They don't know how to control them. Put them in the most complex atmosphere up on 2 feet. It's a circus act, right? How many animals on earth walk on 2 legs as well as humans? None, except for one ape. One giant gorilla can walk on 2 legs like a human being. It scares me to death every time I watch that video.
Yep.
Okay. So you treat them the same way. You say, okay, I know what positions I need for force production. Let's get you there first. How can I make you successful? I'm going to put you in the position that allows you to be most successful. Then I'm going to drive the positions that produce the IR, the force production. Then I'm going to slowly expand that excursion so you can step into an early representation. You can push through a middle and then push off the late. You see it? You
Got
create the atmosphere. You put them in the positions to be successful. There's no difference. There is no difference. It's just a matter of understanding the constraints. That's why you do your evaluation. You say, what do we have available to us right now to work with?
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And so one of the, as long as they can tolerate the positions, one of the more passive positions could just be kind of getting them in prone and protracting and breathing there for a few minutes, and then try to get them assisted rolling, helping them with whatever they need so they can be successful, eventually rolling on their own as much as they can, and then resist.
So think about this. Think about this for a second.
From the supine.
You put them in sideline.
Okay, starting this.
Hang on. I'm just talking. It's like, I don't know where you're going to start this guy, but
Okay.
let's put him in sideline. And then all I do is say, take your arm back like this and roll to your back. And then you help him back to sideline. And then you roll to your back. Okay. And then he gets really good at that. And then you take a bunch of pillows and you put them in front of him and you say, roll over on top of the pillows first. So he's going to face down a little bit, but he's propped up on pillows. So it's not full prone. And you say, reach back and then make your turn. Yeah. You see what I'm getting at? And then you lead them into this. And then eventually it can turn into like a prone to sideline to supine kind of a thing. You see it?
I see it. Okay.
When it comes time to stand them up from a seated position, and you got this ER spine representation, what do you got to teach them to do?
Stand up. In this case, I'm going to have to teach them to internally rotate through the spine.
Okay, how do you do that?
Exhale and try to extend the back as he's going to keep a good stack, and exhale as you stand up.
Okay, so what if you took a towel, you wrap it around behind their pelvis, so it goes behind their pelvis, and you got both ends of the towel, and they take their hands and they put them on your shoulders and they push you away and you pull on the towel at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. This is a box squat. You got to teach them how to box squat. Okay.
How to box squat, but try to keep
you got to put them in a force. You got to put them in a force producing position, right? So that's IR of the spine, right? That's nutation of the sacrum. So you assist them into that position. They push on you. To borrow a phrase from my buddy Jay Chung, he says, tell them to push you away like every other woman in your life, right? Right? So you teach them to push. So this position right here
90 degrees IR
is middle P for the thorax. Okay. I'm assisting them into a position of middle P for the pelvis, and I teach them to pressurize. You understand?
So will this be Valsalva or pressurized? It can
teach them to exhale first. Okay.
Exhale first.
So they need to be able to alter pressure. They're going to naturally hold their breath, because the minute you start to bring their pelvis off the seat, they're going to hold their breath because of the amount of force that's going to be required.
Yep.
Okay. But do you see how you build this? It's literally the same process that you went through to learn how to walk. They have to learn the new constraints, whatever they have available to them. And then you substitute for whatever you need to substitute for. So maybe this becomes the AFO. What does an AFO do?
IR for the ankle.
Yeah, it holds it in middle, plus or minus a couple of degrees. So it stores a little bit of energy for you, but it keeps you in middle propulsion, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's why they don't keep an AFO in plantar flexion. It's like, you can't walk like that. You got to be able to put force into the ground. So I put the foot in middle P so that the middle P goes up through the pelvis and up into the thorax. You have to recreate that for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yep. Thank you.
You're very welcome.